Island Podcast. Welcome, everybody. I felt like tooting like a horn. I don't know why. I just want to see Dan and Chazzy's reaction. They looked a little bit confused.
That's a bit. We're used to it.
It brought me back to the Flintstones.
A self-proclaimed sports analyst who is deciding to rock the Streakers hat today. We have Dan Moore for your money, looking like a gangster from the 1940s.
Yeah.
And we got Chazzy, the CEO, has got the Jaromir Jagr flow going on today.
Freshly from the barber, freshly from the salon, I should say.
Oh, from the salon.
Yeah.
Looking sexy as always, Mr. Chazzy.
I think
he's gorgeous looking dude.
Yeah. But yeah.
We have an action-packed show today because what we're going to go over is what's been going on at the moment in the NHL. And of course, playoffs are around. Playoffs? Are we even going to win a game?
So we have all the series ready to go, do we not?
Not quite.
Well,
not quite.
You would think at this point.
Yeah, Habs haven't clinched yet because they lost to Ottawa.
Okay, relax. No.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. The East, we know who's in.
So you say the Islanders are done now, JMO?
Islanders are done. Blue Jackets. Again, Montreal basically Montreal's got to win like one game out of their next three. I'd be really surprised if they couldn't get one win out of their next three. They're also not catching Ottawa. Montreal is staying where they are. Ottawa staying where they are. It's the Atlantic and the East that there's still some question marks. So, Toronto is currently first in the Atlantic of 100 points with 4 games left. However, we have the Lightning, 2 points behind them.
Lightning.
4 games behind them with 3 games left. I'm going to be real here. I don't see the Panthers catching the Leafs at this point. I don't see the Leafs only winning one of their next 4.
No.
I think they'll at least split it. The Leafs, basically, if they can win 2 of their next 4, they're taken first in the division.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, how important is that? Like, what do you guys feel that is as important as everyone's going on? Dan, I'm going to go to you. Is that crucial for this team?
Home ice, I say, is crucial. The actual component, I don't think is, because whenever you face Tampa or Florida, and I'm going to throw Ottawa in this conversation too. Whenever you face Tampa, Florida, or Ottawa, all 3 are a very tough component. True. And I think all 3 series are going to go 7 games. So that's where the home ice is crucial. So I think home ice is crucial when it comes to who you're facing. I think you got to take all 3 teams a serious threat.
Well, yeah, because let's be honest here. It's not like Toronto has had big success in the playoffs, right?
No, exactly. So, I mean, look, we lost to Columbus that series a few years ago. We lost their Chazzy's Montreal team a few years ago. Like, you know, they gotta be ready to go regardless who the competitor is. So that's why I don't think the competitor is a big deal, but I think home ice is a big deal.
But Toronto's in the driver's seat, I mean, at the moment to at least win this division. They're playing Montreal tonight, which I'm not saying this is going to be an easy game, especially considering they only have 5 defensemen. And we're already hearing Berube talking about putting Mitch Marner on D. I saw this hilarious meme. And you guys know the flex tape dude, right?
Yeah. Flex tape.
So it's like any single problem that's happening with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then it's just Mitch Marner. It's the flex tape dude just slapping it all. That has been Berube of late. When in doubt, Marner's on the ice. Which is funny because he could be the big superstar to be on his way out of Toronto, pending on how things go over the next couple weeks.
Well, it depends on the playoffs. Like, the media is trying to make it right up about Marner wants to leave Toronto. I don't think that's the case. I think it depends how we do on the playoffs, whether the Leafs offer him a contract or not. And if they do offer a contract, how much? If we get out in the first round again, yeah, maybe we'll offer him another $10 million contract, but that's it. But if we go to conference finals, then yeah, maybe he'll get that $12 million contract. Who knows?
As you can see, I think Lane's about as confident in the Leafs as Chazzy always is.
Oh no, I think let's talk about that for a second. So right now they'll play Ottawa?
Right now they would play Ottawa.
talking to Trevor, who's a diehard Sens fan.
Jeez.
They're ready for the Battle of Ontario to reignite since it's over 2 decades.
And I think it will.
Right? So
Yeah.
Toronto's won every one of those series? 2000, 2001, 2002, 2004, the big stretch. So are you guys a little concerned? Are you a little conspiracy? Like I don't know. Are you a little what do they call it? The jinx of is Ottawa finally going to get one, knowing that they are a different team this year?
Well, I want to see the rivalry come back. The rivalry's been dead for, I would say, about 10 plus years. So then,
I think it's really came back the last couple of years since.
That's what I'm trying to say, though. The last 2 years, when Quagver shot the swap shot in the empty net, that's kind of when his rivalry started picking up again. So I would love to see a Battle of Ontario. I think it's the perfect time for it.
It certainly is, but I mean,
are you concerned?
No, I'm not concerned. I think it'll be a tight 7-game series. I think Toronto will take it.
I'm sorry. I don't think any Leaf fan should be confident going into a playoff round.
Yeah,
like
as Lane said, we'll blow it like it did.
Track record proves itself, right? So I think it's important for the Leafs to win the division. Yes. Do I think if they lose the division, it's an excuse for them if they get out in the first round? Absolutely not.
No, because you said from day one, conference finals or bust.
Yes, you can't keep using this as an excuse, right?
No.
So, and it's the same thing I've said about other teams, right? Like I've said the same thing about the Winnipeg Jets. They can't go on that, oh, well, they're going to have to play Dallas or Colorado at some point. Well, that sucks to suck. That's your division. That's the way it's built now. So you got to get over it. It's the same thing I've said about actually all 3 teams in the Central: Winnipeg, Dallas, and Colorado, which Winnipeg did clinch first in that division. So they are avoiding playing Colorado in the first round. Like, let's be honest here. We look at Dallas or Colorado, they fail. We know one of these teams are going to fail this year.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
right?
No, first round. Exactly.
But I don't think they can use it as an excuse.
No.
Right? I feel the same way about Toronto. I feel the same way about the whole Central and the whole Atlantic division.
I think that series in Colorado and Dallas is going to be the most entertaining series of the first round.
I don't know. I'm excited for Edmonton, LA, which right now LA is up 4-2 over the Avs in the third period. That's a big game if you're an Oilers fan. Yeah, because the Oilers are currently 2 points behind, and the Kings have a game in hand. So this is the Kings game in hand right now. You know, the Oilers play tonight. But if LA wins this one, Edmonton's going to come in being 4 points down. It's getting less and less likely Edmonton's going to be able to get home ice. And we've talked about this on the show. LA at home is dynamite. On the road, they've struggled this year, but at home, they're almost unbeatable at 35-4 at home.
And LA is a different team than before, thanks to their supporting cast they got, like with Warren Fogle, for example, right? And Drew Doughty, I think, looks better this year because he missed half the year. So, you know, and Darcy Kemper is a huge part of that team. So this LA team is very different from the LA team that the Oilers beat in previous years.
Well, again, Edmonton holds a 8-2 series record, and I think they won the last 3 or 4 in a row.
They have
three years in a row, I think so.
But again, LA, I'm going to say the same thing.
For the Oilers.
It can't be an excuse for LA to be like, well, we keep losing to Connor McDavid. Figure it out.
Well, this would be 4 years in a row. Yeah, 4 years in a row.
Like, you can look at that as much as a Raptor fan back in the day, it was upsetting. It was like when the Raptors traded DeMar DeRozan. They didn't make excuses. Like, okay, our team just isn't good enough, so they made a big move.
Yeah,
right? And you look at these teams, and these are the big moves they need to make. Now, Chazzy, you were asking me, do we know every team that's making the playoffs?
Yeah.
We know 15 out of 16.
Yeah.
There are 2 positions, as we know, there are 2 wild card spots. The West, we still don't know. So Calgary beat Minnesota on Friday night. So Calgary is now 3 points behind Minnesota and the Blues with a game in hand. The Blues have lost 2 straight after winning 12 in a row.
Which kind of expected.
The Wild still in their last 10 are 3-5-2. Now they've been better since they got Kaprizov and Eriksson back, but their goaltending has been shaky at best during this stretch. So just being real here, it's a possibility that Calgary could still catch this.
Yeah.
And that's where you look at two big games tonight. The Blues play the Kraken and the Wild play the Canucks. If you're a Flames fan, you're really hoping that at least one of these two teams lose because you need them to lose one.
I don't think that's the case. I think we're both going to win.
You just hate Calgary.
No, it's not that I hate Calgary. We got to look at the components, okay? Vancouver, unfortunately, got eliminated, so they got nothing to play for.
They have a lot to play for.
Kraken's got nothing to play for either.
Disagree.
That's when they're more hungry. That's when they win.
Like
I'm with you. They could play the spoiler role here.
Like, see, I could see these teams playing the spoiler role, especially Vancouver. You have guys like Brock Besser, who's already said he's not coming back next year, but he's looking to show how much he's worth. And
like, is he already out of the locker room, do you think, or does he? He's still got to be mentally engaged in these next.
And games. I see Lane's agreeing with what I've been saying for the last.
Oh, the Wild miss.
The Wild will miss. And Lane, I got to agree with you. I don't think this Wild team is going to get it done. I'm still pulling that Calgary is going to find a way. Because the Wild, I could see them losing to the Canucks tonight. I really could. And the Wild schedule coming up, you got Vancouver tonight, then you play Anaheim to close out the season. If you lose one out of those two and Calgary wins out, you're done. You're out. Right? Or riddle me this, if they lose both of them, it's very possible, right? That's really not the Wild. See what I did there?
Nice one.
But nice one. In all seriousness, I could see Minnesota choking.
Here's the $1 million question. If the Wild does not make the playoffs, does Fleury come back one more year?
No, Dan, Fleury is done. No. You got to get. I get we all miss. We're all going to miss the Flower, but he's done. But when I look at the Wild of late, even the games they have won, it's not like they've played that well.
True.
They beat San Jose 8-7 in overtime. That was ridiculous. Then, okay, they beat Dallas 3-2. That was pretty impressive.
It's like some NFL scores coming in.
No, I mean, in the NFL, that's a terrible score, but that still is a score we.
It happened a few times this year.
Field goals and a touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Then you look, all right. Then after that, they lost 3-2 to the Devils, then 5-2 to the Devils, beat the Capitals 4-2, then lost to the Golden Knights 5-1, lost to the Stars 3-0. Like, we look at the trend, and I even look at the last two games where they have a lot of their pieces back.
Yeah.
Okay, they can kind of score, but it's not like they're playing. And the interesting thing is too, they use both of their goalies in that Calgary game. So now, who the heck do you start in Vancouver tonight?
Well, that was a surprise. I didn't see that coming. Like,
I gotta agree with Lane. It has gotten very sloppy for Minnesota. They just don't look cohesive.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. But right now, I'm very. If a team is going to fall out of the spot, I think it's going to be the Wild more than the Blues. Although the Blues, their last two games are against Seattle and Utah, which again, Utah's been playing has been upsetting some people. They're really trying to build for next year because let's be honest, I don't think this has been a terrible season for Utah, right? Like I think they're right now 36-30-13. As much as they're eliminated from the playoffs, they were in that race a lot longer than what anyone thought they would be. And
for sure,
steps this year.
Well, look at the conference, right? Look at the points in the conference, how tight it was.
Well, exactly. Like even I mean, so if I could see the Blues losing one of those two games. Like in theory, these teams are in the driver's seat, but Calgary is a very anxious passenger waiting to steal the keys.
I don't see the Blues missing the playoffs, though.
I'm not saying they will, but I'm just saying...
Like, if one of the teams going to fall, it's going to be Minnesota versus the Blues.
If the Blues do fall, that would be really...
A collapse.
A collapse after them winning 12 straight.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I don't see that happening.
But let's be honest, though, even in this 12 straight, there's been some games where They haven't looked as good. Like they lost 4-3 to Edmonton. Then they lost to the Jets 3-1. Those are your last two losses. But then you barely beat Colorado. That was 5-4. You barely beat Pittsburgh. That was 5-4 in overtime. You barely beat Detroit. That was 2-1 in overtime. Again, I understand a win is a win. I'm not denying that. But if we look, their last five wins to close that streak were all 1-goal games. The last blowout they had was when they beat Chazzy's Habs 6-1 on the 25th of March. So let's be honest, even when the Blues were winning towards the end of the streak, they were slipping.
Let's be easy on those blowouts.
Hey, a blowout's a blowout, my friend.
Danny in the ticker again.
I moved them.
So the $1 million question is
$5 million. Guess can't answer. Sorry.
If Calgary does make the playoffs, they would face Winnipeg?
We don't know, because remember, the thing is, Calgary right now could jump either Minnesota or the Blues.
Because Minnesota has the
they could jump both
against the Blues. Yeah.
Let's say hypothetically the Blues and the Wild finish the year losing 2 straight. I'm not sure who has the tiebreaker out of those two teams. Yeah. Calgary, in theory, could jump both of them.
So my question is, regardless who they face, whether it's Winnipeg, I forget the other team right now.
Vegas.
Okay, well, even more difficult. Do you really see Calgary beating any of those teams? I don't.
Yes.
Really?
You can't take any team lightly.
Calgary, no, I know that.
And Calgary down the stretch have looked very different than Calgary to start the year. You're getting really strong goal. If Dustin Wolf can play the way he's playing all season, yeah, Calgary could steal a series.
100%. They're playing incredible.
They're built more for playoff hockey, right?
They just don't have any offense.
But what happens in playoffs? Everything tightens up. So now the offense becomes less important, and it's more about. And you know what? You say there's no offense, but they're also getting scoring from all 4 lines.
Yeah, that's true.
Their fourth line's been playing a lot better. Kadri's at a career high in goals this year, not points, but goals. Tied, sorry. Huberdeau is having his best season as a Flame. And I get Dan, you go on, whoa, he's not putting up the same points he played up in Florida. He can't. If you look at Florida's roster, he could not do the same as what he's doing in Calgary.
Okay, I get that. We go from a 115-point year to a 60-point year. Talk about an epic fail. Even if we went from the 115 points to like 80, I could see that. But
you went from playing with Barkov to Backlund. And I love Backlund.
I get it.
Very good player. But they are not.
I get it. I'm just saying. I will say, though, it's interesting. I heard you talk about Brock Boeser there. It is interesting, him coming out already saying he's not staying. And Jacob and I were talking off camera. Calgary might be a great fit for Brock Boeser.
Yeah. But Dan, to put into perspective quickly back to Huberdeau, that 115-point year you're referencing, he got 30 goals and 85 assists. This year he's got 28 goals. So the goal scoring is almost back to where it was. Yeah. The goal scoring is almost back. He's not going to get the same amount of assists because he doesn't have Reinhart to set up for who's going to put in 60.
Right, yeah.
Right? So he's, as much as I like Jonathan Huberdeau, he's not a Sidney Crosby level of player that I could be on his line and I might put in 30 goals. Crosby is that good. But
if you get Brock Boeser going to have 44 goals a couple years ago. Maybe if you get some magic with Brock Boeser and Huberdeau the next year.
And that is very possible. All I'm saying is I think people like yourself, Dan, are putting too much on Huberdeau, saying that he hasn't done enough, because I do feel like in a lot of times in Calgary this year, he's been a big piece. Just compare it to his last couple of years. Like he only had 15 goals and 12 goals the years prior. This year, he's got 28. The assists are down a little bit, but he's shooting a lot more. So I'm more than okay with what Huberdeau's done this year. It's been his best year as a Flame by far.
Yeah, they bring another piece in to play with him, then you're just
because then you can put Coronado on a different line as well and really have 3 lines with a shooter. You bring in Brock Boeser to play with Huberdeau. keep Kadri up on the top line and then Coronado playing on one of those lines, you probably in theory have 2 lines that can run and gun, if not 3. Where right now they just don't have that. Mind you, Dan, I don't agree with you when you seem to think Calgary can't make a push in the playoffs because I feel they're built for playoff hockey.
My question with Huberdeau is, are you okay with his 60 points of the salary that he's getting? Because not seeing Kadri at $7 million for what he's getting, okay, that's a good deal. But with Huberdeau, I don't think so.
Didn't he sign that deal in Florida though?
He signed that deal in Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
And
he was traded.
There's not much you can it's the deal's done. He's got it. There's nothing you can, it's an unmovable contract. You just have to be happy that he's playing better than he was when he got here. And what everyone forgets, everyone goes on about that Tkachuk for Huberdeau deal. Calgary also got Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah, that's the key piece.
He was a very, very good defenseman. I actually don't feel Calgary did bad in that trade. You brought in 2.
No, I don't either.
And then you brought in Kadri in free agency, who basically replaced Tkachuk.
Right.
So I don't think you can be, if I'm Calgary, I'm not that unhappy with that move in the end. I think Calgary, if they don't make the playoffs this year, which I think they have a very good chance that they could, they're building something for next year. Bring in a guy like Brock Besser, or I know, Dan, you don't agree with me, but like a Sam Bennett, or maybe you put in an offer sheet for Matthew Knies and say, we'll give you 9 over 9, just come to Calgary.
Now, when you say they're built for playoffs, are you thinking they're one of the tougher teams?
They're very physical.
I feel like the shadow just went through my screen like a baseball diamond, where now the shadow's over the third baseline during the program.
The thing is with Calgary, they play very physical and they love to play tight checking games.
They do, yeah.
They're very low event, wait for you to make a mistake and capitalize on it. And that's
goaltending.
And if Dustin Wolf can continue to, like, personally, if Wolf's on his game, I think he can go save for save with Aiden Hill quite fine. And I think he can play good enough to keep at bay at Winnipeg. As with Hellebuyck, let's be honest, we don't know what Hellebuyck you're going to get.
Right.
But that's kind of the only spot where we don't know about what team's going to make the playoffs. And the West, the rest of it's all settled. The only thing we don't know is who's getting home ice between LA and Edmonton. Everything else is settled in the West. We know the Stars are playing the Avs. We know the Kings are playing the Oilers. We just don't know what the Kings and Oilers, who's getting home ice. Truthfully, I don't think Edmonton's going to. If the Kings win today, which they're up 5-3 with 7 minutes left.
Oh, wow.
I don't really see the Oilers catching them.
No.
The Oilers are 2 games up, and they've been making. I don't know if you guys heard, Ekholm is a long-term injury.
Oh,
no. They're going to miss the rest of the season at least.
Wow.
So if you lose Ekholm for the playoffs,
you're done.
You're not done, but you're in trouble.
I think you're done. He was such a monster for Edmonton in the last couple of playoff ones. And Jamo and I were talking off camera. I think Edmonton hit the panic button too early and wussed back these injuries. Okay, maybe we lost home ice, but are you better to lose home ice and get these superstars back for game 1? I think so.
I mean, the main thing is McDavid and Draisaitl are back, and let's be real, those are the horses of your team. But just put in perspective, you have Matthias Ekholm, who's out. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is day-to-day. Actually, Leon Draisaitl's back out on the day-to-day list. Jake Wallman is day-to-day. Trent Frederick is day-to-day. And Zach Hyman is day-to-day. So if you get these guys back for the playoffs, they're not 100%. I think Trent Frederick, the issue was they rushed him back.
Right, and same with Ekholm. They rushed him back. He played
even just
half a game last game?
Like, Ekholm's injury nothing really even happened. He just kind of fell.
What's what happens? He rush people back. And I think out of all the people you mentioned, I think Ekholm's the most important piece.
I would say Ryan Nugent-Hopkins because he brings in that balance. And Zach Hyman, even though he's had an off year compared to last year, he's still one of your top 6 forwards.
No, I get that.
Now, I mean, the good, I guess this is a good thing for them. I don't know. Edmonton's goaltending's terrible either way, but Stuart Skinner is no longer on this injury list. And
I gotta say, as much as we poke fun at Picard being an AHL goalie, he's played incredible lately. You can't fault any of this on Picard.
No, Pickard's been playing well.
Pickard, that's his name. I don't know what I was calling him, Picard.
But I think
Picard with a P.
If the Kings end up winning this game, basically then the Oilers are only going to have 3 games to make up 4 points, which means they're going to have to go perfect down down the last 3, which is doable. But you're going to have to go perfect, and the Kings are going to have to lose at least 1, if not 2 of the last 3.
Yeah.
And the Kings have just been so dominant this season. I don't see them. Now, mind you, there's that game against Calgary. So in theory, if I think Calgary's going to make the playoffs, that means I think the Kings are going to lose that game. Right. And Edmonton and the Kings do play each other coming up. So that could be a big one.
Well, that's the thing. Again, Jamie and I were talking. We've been talking a lot off camera lately. But anyway, we've been talking a lot. Rose is thinking about streakers in the island.
Feet away.
You know? But Jamie and I were talking, and we're looking at it, right? And we're thinking Calgary's got a really tough 2 games with LA and Vegas. But the good thing is that both LA and Vegas, the games mean nothing to them.
Well, it means something to LA, still means nothing to Vegas.
No, but let's face it. If LA beats Colorado, which I'm pretty confident, up 3 goals in 7 minutes.
It's 5-3 with 5:48 left in the third.
Oh, Colorado's made it 5-3. Okay. So we're up 2 goals against Colorado in 5 minutes. If they want to make a run in the playoffs, I hope they can win this game. So if they win this game, I think the next game is Calgary. Doesn't mean anything, LA. You just said it yourself, Jacob. If they win this game, they get home ice against Edmonton.
No, I said if they win and Edmonton loses tonight.
Well, who's Edmonton playing tonight?
Edmonton tonight is playing...
No, tomorrow.
They play tomorrow, sorry. Edmonton plays the Jets tomorrow.
Well, that's going to be a tough game, but then...
Oh, you're coming off a back-to-back for the Jets. Now, mind you, tonight the Jets play the Blackhawks. And the thing is, it's kind of tough with the Jets situation is these games mean nothing.
Right,
Unless
exactly.
They really care about the President's Trophy, which I don't know how much teams care about the President's Trophy.
Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference.
They are currently ahead of the Capitals by 3 points, and the Capitals they got slaughtered 7-0 today by the Blue Jackets.
You notice the Capitals have kind of struggled ever since the record was broken.
Oh, and the Blue Jackets have gone on a bit of, which I said could happen, and the Blue Jackets have won 3 straight. I think they're trying desperately to stay in this playoff hunt. Which, mind you, they are only 4 points out. It's just they both only have 3 games left. So, like Montreal, they basically just got to win 2 of their next 3, maybe even only 1 of their next 3.
Get a point or so, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Montreal has put themselves in the driver's seat 100%, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. Toronto will be a tough test for them tonight, but then they play Chicago next and Carolina to close out. The game for Carolina will mean absolutely nothing, and you should beat Chicago.
So it's a tough game with Toronto, only 5 defensemen.
And let's be honest, there's a very good chance they beat Toronto or at least take them to overtime tonight. So if you take Toronto to overtime and you beat Chicago, you're in.
Yeah.
So Montreal's definitely in the driver's seat to make the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, the only thing that hurt them a bit was losing to Ottawa 5-2. It kind of made it next to impossible for them to catch Ottawa.
Yes.
But I don't really know if facing either Toronto or Washington, there's that big of an advantage if you're Montreal.
I'll just say this. Back in 2010, they did upset the Caps.
That's right.
Did.
So here's the question for you, Chazzy, being a Habs fan. Do you want Washington or Toronto?
I think more realistic is going to be Washington at this point. But either or. I think Toronto is destined for Ottawa. And bring on the Caps, and anything can happen.
Well, I want to ask you then, what do you guys think about the Leafs-Habs game tonight? I think Montreal could really take advantage of Toronto only having 5D. They're a fast team with a lot of scoring. Like, they've been able to put the puck in the net a lot this year. They have 238 goals this year, which is one of the higher ones for teams in the wild card situation. So they're the highest scoring team with a wild card spot. Second highest, sorry. Yeah, the Blues and then the Habs. But I could see this being... Now, Anthony Stolarz is getting the start for Toronto today, which I think, again, is showing more who's your starter in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow you're playing Carolina, but there's a possibility of Jake McCabe being back in the lineup tomorrow. So, and again, too, I think the game against Montreal is more important. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, more close, like to close it out. You get closer to just closing it out.
Well, exactly. I think, and if Toronto wins today, and then the Lightning lose to Buffalo, which laugh all you want, Buffalo's been pretty good down the stretch. Weirdly enough,
yeah, they have.
What Buffalo does, they start to play well when it doesn't matter. They're 8-2 in their last 10. right?
Yeah.
So if that happens, Toronto's basically got the division locked.
We did say they were a good team.
Yeah.
Toronto should
It
be
just
better
showed
than,
too late in the
than
season.
their record. We keep saying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at Toronto, if Toronto beats Montreal tonight, and I'm not saying they're going to, I'll be honest, I think Montreal's got a bit of an advantage here, Toronto being down to 5 defensemen tonight. I really do.
Yeah.
Could be high scoring.
It could be.
Oh, yeah.
Last game.
But that's the thing. I don't think Montreal minds playing the high scoring run and gun game.
No.
Like I have a lot of young talent, especially if Toronto gets into some penalty trouble. That team's Montreal's power plays electric.
Which if we have Marner on defense, you could very well get in some penalty trouble.
Now they're saying Marner on D is only if the minutes get too high.
Okay.
So I could see Marner on D in certain situations because he can skate backwards. He actually played defense in a game last year when Toronto was down to 3 defensemen. They put Marner on defense.
Oh,
And it wasn't a total disaster. Like he played with Riley, and it actually looked okay. Wasn't spectacular,
Yeah.
but no. Like I'm going to ask you guys that in the Streakers app. I believe I challenged both of you. Who are you taking tonight, Toronto or Montreal? Dan, Toronto or Montreal?
Oh, I'm gonna let Chauncey go. I was going to say Toronto, but hearing about the news about the 5 defensemen, I'll just make this clear for everyone listening. The only reason why it's 5 defensemen is because of the salary cap issues. Because they still have a lot of good D men in their Maris, but they can't bring up another defenseman because of cap. I think Montreal is very hungry to clinch the playoff spot. I think this win will basically clinch it for them. And I think Toronto kind of knows. Okay, I can't want to say Toronto quints the division because it's not true, but it's looking better and better when they get the division. And with 5 defensemen, it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Montreal is going to take this one.
Chazzy, who are you taking tonight, Montreal or Toronto?
Oh, Montreal. Looks like Jacob's gonna get the start.
Could be a goaltending matchup then as
Mm,
well. He's been playing pretty well for you guys since he's been called up over Primo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although we watched Montreal's affiliate against the Marlies, and
Primo played well.
Primo played well.
So hold on. Can you bring us back to how did you get into this situation of just running 5D tonight?
Before we get into that, Lane is picking Montreal tonight.
Lane. He knows.
So what happened is OEL's injured, McCabe's injured, and Hakanpää's still injured. So, but because of reasons, they don't want to put any of these guys on the injury reserve, then they might not be able to play game 1 of the playoffs. So, and Lane also thinks, by the way, they're going to cough up the division.
What?
Well, so he thinks the Lightning will catch him.
Lane, I don't blame you for not having any faith in this team. I'm going
No, he doesn't have zero faith. He's saying, "Oh, faith, oh, like he's got faith in the Maple Leafs."
No, honestly, though, I don't blame you, Lane, for not having faith in this group because it's one of those things. It's like if you keep expecting the different result with the same group, it's the definition of insanity.
But
right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
And
sorry.
the problem is for the Leafs, they've changed a lot of the pieces. I know because I know that's what you're going to say. Are they the same?
No, I was
But the
going to say,
core-
are they built for the playoffs? Is this your best
Yes.
version built for the playoffs?
Yes.
And Lane's also bringing up too, the Leafs can't bring any players up till playoffs unless of an emergency situation. So what the emergency situation would be is, let's say we're down to 1 goaltender, or we don't have enough to put out a roster, but we have enough players up. I believe Pacioretty's going to play tonight.
Right.
So you're
So
gonna bring Patches in and keep a D out?
you have to, because you don't have enough players up. And Lane, Lane doesn't seem sure about this being the best group going into the playoffs. I think this is the best group they've had.
Oh,
Really?
me too.
I think it's good enough.
To face the well, let's say the Lightning, Panthers, and Ottawa.
I don't
Like, you're
give a bleep who we face. I really don't. I look at it, the Leafs can't keep using the excuse, "Oh, the division's tough." That's like when you fail a test in school and say the test was too difficult. No, you probably just didn't study enough. And that's what it's like for me with the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? You can't keep having the same results. Mind you, I think from goaltending, defense to forwards, this is the best group we've had. I think the goaltending is the most consistent between either with Stolarz
What about
or
your
Woll.
toughness? All around toughness to go deep into the playoffs.
I feel the bottom six is tougher than what it's been in other years because
I
Ryan
think
O'Reilly didn't fit. I know you're about to say the Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Schenn bit, which Luke Schenn fit, but Ryan O'Reilly never did.
You gotta give his team credit because by committee, they have the most fights out of anyone in the league by each different player. So you're right, Chaz. You don't have the one heavyweight, but by committee, they got the toughness, and also bringing in Lawton and Carlo helps in that category a lot.
However, Dan, you can see Lane.
Yeah, I like this.
Lane has kind of said what I've been saying the last little bit. I don't know if Lawton was worth giving up a first-round pick.
What do you think, more for?
I think at this point he is, because you look at teams in the past that won the Stanley Cup, they've won the cup with 4 good centermen, and we had 3 deep centermen. We needed that third centerman. So is it worth getting up a first round pick with a third line center? No. Is it worth getting a first round pick with a Stanley Cup? Yes. So we'll see what happens.
I will say, if I was going to get a first-round pick, I would have rather called Colorado and brought in Brock Besser than Scott Lawton, just saying, kept Max Domi center, and then just kept Nick Robertson up for the playoffs. Guy does have 14 goals in and out of the lineup. But, Lane, I don't fully agree with you with the goaltending, and I do want to say why here. I feel Anthony Stolarz has shown that he can be the guy this year.
Oh, 100%.
I agree with Lane on this one.
And I feel Joseph Woll, and Dan, you're going to go on with wins and losses. When you're losing playoff games 2-1, it's not the goalie's fault.
Yeah.
Like Joseph Woll has always been good in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, do I wish we could afford someone else? Honestly, sure. But in a salary cap world, and Lane, I see your comment about it's going to be tough facing a Vezina caliber goalie, but we can't afford a Vezina caliber goalie because of the core 5.
Don't forget, if Storms,
Matthews, Nylander, Marner, Tavares, Riley. Those are 5 very good players.
Okay, you just said Joseph Woll had success in the playoffs. However, now you're going to go into the playoffs with Stolarz.
Yes, because I'm taking the hotter hand, and Woll's never started at the beginning of a series either. I'm taking the hotter hand going in, and right now, the Leafs look better in front of Stolarz than Woll.
If Storms didn't get injured, Storov could have been a Vezina caliber goalie. His numbers are there. He just got injured.
I do agree with that,
An
actually.
excuse.
I agree. There's no excuse. An injury is an injury. But what I'm getting at is I think Toronto's goaltending, you look at nothing happened, Dan. You're fine. You look,
okay.
We're live, so you're going to see our random bloopers. Don't ask Dan where the desktop is.
My computer went bloop, so I'm like, what's going on here?
And no, and Lane, I don't disagree with you actually that I don't feel the Leafs have had a real quality goalie. I'm going to say this. We haven't had a quality starter since Curtis Joseph.
Oh.
Because even Ed Belfour was towards the end of his career.
No, Eddie was good.
Eddie was okay.
Eddie Eagle.
Never made it past the second round. We have not made
setouts in the year
round since Cujo left. And I'm going to keep harping that home. I got that autographed jersey for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. I got to agree with you. The goaltending,
that was a Scott Stevens era.
The goaltending in Toronto, it is out of the 3 areas, it is probably one of the weaker points. And okay, Anderson was all right. I can agree with that too. But again, he wasn't a franchise guy, which do we have a franchise goalie now? No.
Anderson got hurt in Toronto, did he not?
He did. Campbell was too flimsy. I agree with you. You never knew if the soup was going to be hot or not.
I liked Campbell.
Samsonov, he was either the best goalie in the league or he was absolutely terrible.
He was a good guy.
I was actually cheering for Samsonov to go.
Oh, I loved him. And you know what? I felt in that Game 7 game against Boston.
It wasn't his
fault. He allowed 2 goals.
Yeah,
again, when you pay this, actually, this is something that I want to discuss right now here. Toronto has 255 goals, right? The Lightning have 282 and the Panthers have 245. We should be blowing those teams out in goal scoring. Yeah. With the amount of money we've put into 4 bloody forwards.
I agree with you, actually. Yes, I do agree. Because you just said that because of these top 5 core, we cannot afford a goalie. So, yeah,
well, that's
scoring.
Because you look at the goaltending, okay? We've allowed 227 goals against, Lightning 210, Panthers 211. Considering you have two Vezina caliber Conn Smythe caliber goaltenders in both of those teams. We have $3 million goalies that are backups on both of these teams.
Yeah.
That number isn't that far away. And you got to remember, too, that number is including when Matt Murray and Hildeby were doing the job, and it was a disaster.
Yes.
You take away those games and you take the average out between Woll and Stoley's, we're probably right there with goals against with the Lightning and the Panthers.
Do you know where I think the goals?
When you spend this much money on offense, you cannot do what you're doing. They are, and Lane, it's interesting when you mentioned the holding back. I can't actually fully disagree. Under the Berube system, they do hold back more than they used to.
What do you mean holding back? More defensive?
Yeah, I think so. Like, you think about it, Jacob, when you talk about for 40 goals missing or whatever, the difference of that is Austin Matthews hitting 30 goals instead of 70. That's where our goals are missing.
Also, but Dan, he was injured this year, and other guys have scored way more than last year. Now, he scored like 12 or 15 last year. This year, he's a very good chance he's going to hit 30.
Yeah.
Nylander's got more than last year. Tavares is practically going to double what he did last year.
So Lane has a great point here. Your PK is awful at 19th. What changed?
Larkin and Carl.
Last year, the PK was at 29th.
Okay, so you got a little bit better, but that's still not.
But it's not good enough. I totally agree. And I don't know if you remember, I've talked about this on the show too. I don't like that we use Matthews and Marner on the penalty kill because these are guys that I don't want them out blocking 100-mile-an-hour slap shots and breaking their foot. No, that's what you pay a scrub $900,000 a year to do.
Right.
Well, he's got heart blocking those shots.
Funny enough, I got a good old text message here from one of my buddies up in Sault Ste. Marie or Sault Ste. Marie. And he mentioned that why did you go out and get Scott Lawton when Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews are still killing penalties? And that's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah, I give up a first round pick, like you said. Yeah, good point.
Look, I hear Bear in the background agreeing with us. That's Craig's dog. But yeah, Lane, you make a great point on the penalty kill. Yes, Kyle Dubas' favorite plays.
Doofus.
He loved the Sioux boys, but
see, we got listeners from all over the place joining the island.
Toronto will lose this one, but I think Montreal will win in overtime. I think Toronto's going to get at least 1 point today because I think it's going to be I think it could be a high scoring game. The only way I think Toronto has a chance tonight is if Stoley steals it.
Which he could.
He very well could. And I agree with Lane that Kyle Dubas really is definitely his favorite place is Sault Ste. Marie. But no, I think that, let's be honest here. I think the Toronto-Montreal game is one of the more impactful games tonight because Montreal could really.
It's a Saturday night. There's no better Leafs.
Yeah, literally.
Montreal can basically lock the spot up tonight, and Toronto can really pull away. It's actually the Panthers playing the Sabres today, not the Lightning. My apologies. The Lightning
I was kind of thinking, okay.
Sabres are up 1-0 right now, end of first.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Really
big if you're Toronto, right? If the Panthers lose and you at least get a point, Panthers are not catching you because the Panthers are already 4 points behind. Yeah. The Panthers have to win tonight to have a chance of catching first in the division. If they lose tonight, they are not catching that divisional.
No, I think the only realistic is the Lightning catching.
The Lightning.
I can't get over how bad Seth Jones is in the Panthers.
If I called that, by the way.
You did, yeah,
but
and you were right.
Prove us all wrong and win tonight, then it's going to be next to impossible for the Lightning to catch them. The Leafs, if they win tonight, only have to win one of their last three.
No, I agree with you. Yeah,
it's a big game for Toronto. Yeah. However, I will say quickly, we talked about Edmonton making a mistake rushing players back. I give Toronto credit that they're going to run 5D and make sure everyone's healthy.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
I think it would be a big mistake to push these guys to play now, even though winning the division is so important. I would rather be healthy in the playoffs than win the division. That's kind of my 2 cents there.
Well, that's kind of the advantage playing with Toronto too. I mean, Toronto, there is a salary cap. You only spend X amount of dollars, but there is no salary cap of things like coaching and healthcare and all that. And look at Kawhi Leonard
Go
the
on.
Raptors. Like he had a lot of health problems. So he had his best season playing with Toronto Doctors, right? And Toronto's been kind of known that doing a conservative route when it comes to health. But it's a good way to go because these are, as much as we talk about the athletes and the game and the money, at the end of the day, these are all human beings and humans' life come first, right?
Just
So
a quick note: the LA Kings beat Colorado 5-4.
5-4. Wow, it made a game of it.
Now Edmonton is down 3 points with 3 games left.
Oh boy,
Edmonton has to win. Has to win this weekend.
tomorrow, yeah.
They have to win. They have to beat Winnipeg tomorrow, which it just
Wow.
depends how hungry Winnipeg is.
Yeah.
There's 2 other games I want to talk about quickly before we sign off to catch in the Leafs tonight.
Just a
the
tidbit
Blues
on the golf course right now. It looks like Corey Connors is going to finish the third round third. Looks like he'll be in the second last round. Corey and DeChambeau look like they'll be 1-2. Connors and Aberg.
Wow.
In the second final point. Just before we cut off with the knowing it's the Masters weekend, boys. It's
That's right.
a cup of tea or a coffee on Masters Sunday morning. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm just upset the Tiger.
I might have to go get some biscuits. Like,
Hey, if you want biscuits, go to Popeyes, the chicken place, not the supplements. They have great
No, I
biscuits.
need biscuits cookies, bro. You have biscuit cookies with tea,
like
not
the
chicken
morning
biscuits.
biscuits. The morning
like a pastry.
pastries. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I was wrong. Okay, never mind.
So quickly, there's 2 more games that I think that are very important. Is getting back into that West wild card. We have the Blues versus the Kraken, and the Wild versus the Canucks. I am going to say this here. I think the Blues are going to extend this to a 3-game losing streak. I think they lose tonight against the Kraken. The Kraken have been a team that have upset some teams lately, and it's funny enough. Mad Mama, aka our mother, called it the other night that the Kraken were going to beat the Winnipeg Jets, and we all thought she was nuts. Turns out she was not nuts at all.
She's
And the
consistently staying in that hoverboard on the app, like on the top 10 there.
On the Streakers app, yeah.
A couple of the leagues, like she's a solid second, making her way up.
And just to put in perspective, the Kraken only lost 2-1 to the Knights on just 2 nights ago. So it's not like they got blown out after getting blown out by Utah, funny enough, 7-1. But the Kraken have been able to pull some upsets off, and I could see the Blues maybe taking this one a little lightly.
No, Blues bounce back.
I agree with Chazzy. The Blues are bouncing back.
I'd like to ask you guys another thing. Who has the highest winning?
No, if they don't bounce back tonight, then I'm concerned for the playoffs because we're talking about momentum going into the playoffs.
Then we also have the Wild versus the Canucks, and I'm doubling down. The Wild are going to continue to lose. I think the Canucks, they think you have some players that want to prove that either they should be there next year or are going to try to show how much money they're worth.
I still think this Canucks team is having fun. And they may actually score a bit tonight. So you know what? I'll go Canucks.
By the way, Dan, Alex loves your hat.
Thank you. You'll be shocked where I got it. That'll be our secret.
Well, now you have to tell us.
Oh, I got a giant tiger for $3.50. Isn't that incredible? Holy cow. Shop Canadian, everybody. Yes. Thank you, Alex.
Love the honesty.
I'm taking the Wild for this game. I'm going against Shazzy and Jay O'Hare and taking the Wild.
I'm
They're going to lock up that spot.
Well, they can't lock up the spot with a win tonight.
Well, they're going to go
pretty
forward for that.
Yeah. They're much closer. If they win tonight, they're much closer, no?
Yes, they are.
80th game. That's their 80th.
That'll be their 81st.
Oh, 81st. Oh yeah.
Remember, the Flames still have 3 games left. Each of these teams only have 2 games left here. And looking at the standings here, right, we're gonna see here that Calgary could legitimately catch
Texas hockey.
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps bringing me to the Dallas Stars every time I bring up the standings, but I'm also
Yay, Dallas!
That's why they're ready for the playoffs.
But yeah,
boy, look at us go here on the island. We got the nice screen, we got the nice hats, we got people commenting on YouTube and Twitch, we got people texting and emailing. Come join the Stuker's Island family, everyone. This is fantastic.
But all I'm saying is here, there is still a there still is a legitimate chance. And you know what, Alex? I will admit, I do
You're a
like a lot of
Dallas
the
fan.
players on the
Oh,
Dallas.
Dallas fan. Good for
He's
you,
ready
bud.
for the playoffs.
They got a good team.
They do.
Oh yeah.
The Dallas Stars are actually a pretty solid group.
I think Seguin's coming back soon, or if he's not back already.
Key names.
Now, I do want to bring up here, though, when we look at Dallas, they're going to play Colorado first round, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's going to be very, very tough.
It's going to be a sad day. We're going to see one of those two teams out of the playoffs, out of the first round.
This is why, and you know, again, Lane, Alex, or anyone else who's watching, you guys go ahead and comment in here. This is why I hate this playoff structure.
100%.
Right, and we're gonna have to go soon. So puck drop's gonna start soon after they do some anthems. Hopefully, it's a good anthem singer tonight, at least.
Hopefully, it's no boo. Oh, it won't be any booing.
7 drop, no?
That's one thing. As much as I say it's weird about baseball, at least the exact times you know what time to get locked into your TV.
307, boys. 307.
What I don't like about the NHL playoff format, right? Like we're gonna see Colorado or Dallas out first round.
Yeah.
Same thing when we look down at the Atlantic. Right at the moment, we're either going to see Tampa or Florida out first round.
Yeah.
Where this is a very
good for Leaf
different
fans.
if we're looking conference-wise.
If you get out of the first round,
it would be very different, right? Normally, it would be Colorado versus LA instead.
That would be interesting.
Emily, if Dan got the hat from Giant Tiger.
Wow. Top Canadian for $3.50.
That's good.
But like, it's just interesting. Oh, apparently their son Miles watched that. So.
Nice.
Oh, I might be having to give up the hat. Oh boy. Well, it won't be the first time we'll give up a hat. I gave up my St. Patrick's Day hat to sell a car back in the day.
So it's just the interesting thing, though, when you look at this, right? That the Edmonton would have been playing Vegas, Colorado, LA, the wild card versus that also changes because you'd have Dallas taking on Minnesota and the Jets taking on the Blues. And we go to the East.
Wow.
We'd have
so
Washington, New Jersey would be going down the 7th. You'd have Washington taking on the Habs.
Oh, you guys would like the New Jersey first round.
Devils versus Toronto.
Wow.
Hurricanes versus Ottawa. Florida versus Tampa. So the Florida-Tampa thing would still remain the same. But it's just, I don't know. It's an interesting prospect still. I still wish they'd go back to the old format.
But to your point, it does change the prospects of the second round and the third round possibility.
Right, exactly.
The whole sort of
I don't like that, but I don't like that we're going to see Dallas or Colorado out first round.
No, I don't either.
Guaranteed.
Same with Tampa and Florida. I know it's good for us Leaf fans, but I don't like to see them out first round.
But they were going to almost play each other anyway on.
They would.
4 or 5.
So
I get that. That's true.
But you're right. Yeah, 2 top caliber teams. You don't want to see one of them gone, but
no, it's just one of those things. It kind of sucks, but it's just the way it goes, right? I wish it was different. Gary Bettman's not going to change it until we see a new commissioner in the NHL. This is the way we're seeing it.
I'm shocked he's been very solid. It's almost been like 40 years now. Like he started when first lockout was 94, 92-ish kind of a way, right?
But the game has changed so much, right?
Almost 30 years, I should say.
Like Gary Bettman has grown the NHL a lot. I'm not going to deny.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Was needed at the time.
We all boo him, but he's done a lot of good for the game.
I would like to see him change. I'd like to see a change now because I think the league needs to pivot again. Although the NHL, if you compare it to other leagues, it's doing a lot better than the NBA. It's doing a lot better than the MLB. The NFL has been having a lot of issues, even though they're still bringing in a lot of money. There are a lot of fan complaints. The fans are still watching and still going to the game. So right now it's not a big deal. But I think for the NFL, if this continues for another 4 or 5 years, I could see those numbers start to come down because fans are going to get fed up when they feel they're being cheated every week or every year.
True.
Like to me, it's insane that the NFL has less technology for first downs than the UFL.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a huge
they're bringing it out. I don't think they're bringing the markers out this year.
Okay, but the UFL started it towards the end of last season where they could check with sensors. So how did the UFL have this technology before the NFL?
Well, you almost do the guinea pig thing.
I was just going to say that the teams
Does it
lower
work? Is
do
it
the testing.
professional? Like, can we run with this without any glitches?
I get what you're saying. I don't know. I just look at this. They've been using this technology in tennis for years. It's the same tech.
No, yeah, with that, yeah, because that's
It's not new
crazy what they do in
technology at
tennis.
all. I've said the same thing for the NHL. Put a sensor in the puck and a sensor at the goal line. Because I thought Calgary got cheated last week. I thought a puck clearly went in where they called it no goal. But that there's a sensor, then we just know if it's in or not. Let's just get rid of the BS and just it's in or it's not in.
Calgary got cheated in
last time we had a
2004.
sensor in a puck, it was blue with red lightning.
That was terrible.
Calgary got cheated in 2004 Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, but Dan, the technology wasn't there in 2004. The tech is there now.
We all know Montana Zona won the cup that game 7. Game 6, I think it was.
But I will agree with you in the tennis. That is some incredible technology on like that tennis ball hitting that line. Yeah.
No, but I've read articles.
Tennis is a cool sport.
Yeah.
That technology can be brought into anything. You just gotta put money into it.
Yeah.
So let's put the money into it.
Yeah. Tennis is a cool sport. I like tennis.
We'll see it.
The NHL can certainly afford it. Like the league is making more money than it's ever made. Right. And like we're seeing a lot of excitement in the league. There's more buzz in this league every year. Look at Four Nations is bringing in Super Bowl TV viewership.
Yeah,
right?
that was crazy.
Seriously, the NHL from a viewership standpoint is doing the best it's ever done. And it's doing it in an era where, let's be honest, traditional cable numbers should be trending down, but NHL numbers are actually been trending up the last 2 years.
Exactly.
Same with the CFL. I want to get the CFL a quick shout out there. Their numbers have also been trending up. Where NBA and MLB has been getting better since they brought in the pitch clock. I thought that was great.
Yep.
But I think the NHL, they need to now not just be satisfied with what they've done and keep striving to get better with it.
I think the MLB is more of experience. You see, ticket sales are not going down in the MLB.
Yes,
it's just viewers, not as much as viewership.
Oh, well, I mean, and not as much as the NBA. NBA ticket sales are tanking because no one just wants to watch. And it's funny enough, I have this argument of coworkers all the time because, or some of my co-op students, because they're, to be honest, they're younger than me. They don't really remember the driving to the lane era that I do, right? And just shooting a bunch of threes that you can't hit. You're only hitting 40% of them, and that's being a good shooter. It's just not as entertaining to me as Vince Carter dribbling between three players and 360 dunk in the middle of the game. It's just not as entertaining. I understand the point numbers are higher, so maybe when I look up, maybe when I'm scoreboard watching on my phone, that's cool. But when I'm actually watching a game, it's not as entertaining.
Well, look, when we were trying to price out Raptor tickets, they lost home games. Raptors suck this year, and cheap seats are $80. It's like, whoa. So do I go a Raptor full Bulldog game for $80? A Raptor game for $80 or 2 Argo games for $80. Argos!
That is an interesting point, though, and that is something to bring up, which we definitely will when we talk more CFL. CFL's training camp's only a month away as of today. The CFL is a more affordable sport for families, and so is the MLB in this country. I mean, you can get a walk-around seat for the Jays for $20. But, boys, I think it's time we sign off.
Puck drop.
The puck is dropping. Thank you very much, everyone, for our live edition of the Streakers Island podcast. Looking for more Streakers Island content, make sure you follow us on all the social medias. Download the Streakers app. And if you want to send us your video topics, questions, comments, email to on your screen, streakersislandpodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email, okay? It's very easy. You have the technology with a video or a text question or comment, and we'll talk about it on the show. I check that email on the daily. Don't you worry. Dan doesn't like to check emails, but I love checking emails.
Well, I check the Instagrams. I'll put you in Papa Drama on Instagram or Facebook. We'll get it.
The funniest thing, and anyone who knows that they're watching, they know I hate checking emails, but I do check them. But thank you very much for watching. Make sure you download the Streakers app and start playing in today. Earn those points, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Bye-bye.